I normally wouldn't make a video like this, but I feel like I need to say something, so I wrote a few things down. I am currently on board the MV Hondius, and what's happening right now is very real for all of us here. We're not just a story. We're not just headlines. We're people. People with families, with lives, with people waiting for us at home. There's a lot of uncertainty, and that's the hardest part. All we want right now is to feel safe, to have clarity, and to get home. So if you're seeing coverage about this, just remember that there are real people behind it, and that this isn't something happening somewhere far away. It's happening to us right now. I'll share more when I can, but for now, I just ask for your kindness and understanding. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the doctor.
There were a group of tourists, about 150 of them, who were in the ship from Argentina going to Cape Verde. But along the way, they visited a lot of islands, especially where there's bird watching. And when they were going to St. Helena, there is a gentleman, a 70-year-old, who fell ill. And when they arrived in St. Helena trying to help him, unfortunately, he passed. He's from the Netherlands. His wife was flown to OR Tambo in order to fly back home because she could no longer be on the ship. And she was not sick, but when she arrived at OR Tambo, she collapsed. And they took her to hospital, where unfortunately she passed. The third one is a British gentleman between St. Helena and Ascension. He fell ill. And when he arrived in Ascension, they airlifted him to South Africa, where he's in a private hospital. He's the first one who was confirmed to have this hantavirus.
Trying different angles.
Unfortunately, there are no specific vaccines for hantaviral diseases. There are no specific antivirals to treat the disease in humans with. Treatment primarily is supportive care, so early identification of cases, seeking medical attention, and getting into facilities that are capable of assisting, for example, in this case, with the respiratory distress portion of the disease. That's really critical. But specific medical interventions, just nothing exists at this time. Well, certainly aboard the cruise ship, that would be the concern. They certainly need to figure out where the virus came from, whether it boarded in Argentina with some of the passengers, or if there's a common food source or something like that on the ship that's making these individuals sick. But outside the cruise ship, I mean, again, hantaviruses are known to have a global distribution. So in most places where there's humans and rodents living in close proximity, the risk of hantaviruses already exist. So it's making sure that individuals take appropriate precautions to limit their contact with rodents, in particular their droppings, which often contain the infectious virus and makes people sick.
Just to also be clear that usually the hantaviruses most often are not usually spread human to human. Most of the viruses, I'll clarify now. So most of the viruses are normally transmitted through rodent droppings and it's usually in specific kinds of environments. There is a less common variant that occurs in South America that is associated with human-to-human transmission. And based on the Argentinian history, etc., and the travel history of these individuals, we will still do the confirmation to see whether it is a South American variant. But on the history, it looks like it's very likely to be that one. And that one that can be transmitted from person to person.
There's only really one of two possible ways this could have happened. Number one is something on the ship could have been infected. Remember, with typically it would be rat or mice feces or urine that would have become airborne. But number two, one of the things that is just going to potentially change the infectious disease world and travel medicine and wilderness medicine world is this may be the Andes variant of the hantavirus. And there are 31 cases that I have researched and I can find in the world that have been spread through human-to-human transmission.
So initially it's very non-specific, unfortunately. You might have some muscle aches, almost like flu-like symptoms, fever, abdominal pain. If they do get worse or they don't respond to your usual conservative management, that's when you want to seek help, especially if you've been at risk or have been exposed. It's generally when we would seek help anyways, isn't it? So non-specific at first. If there are complications that occur, it can have respiratory symptoms, shortness of breath, or you can even have a bleeding tendency. But those are generally the complications that develop later on, and by then hopefully you're already in the healthcare system.
播报新闻是我的日常，必须时刻保持妆容和皮肤的最佳状态。当来到人生中最重要的时刻，也是 KS 逆时奇迹帮助我轻松驾驭，闪闪发光。KS 逆时奇迹活肤露全效精华、精华霜，多达5种 EGF 6大冻龄关键成分，保湿效果让我非常满意，小细纹也不再困扰我。我就是我自己的最佳女主角。KS 让我从容自信，光彩动人。我是我人生中的大女主，我的最爱我做主。KS 逆时奇迹系列热卖中，下单请上快点购，透过中天新闻网 App 下单立减50，或输入 CTI 推荐码有额外折扣。